Okay, so um, doing a very short video here because I think it'll be simpler than explaining it in any other form. So I've basically put together a quick representation of how I feel the meeting details could be hosted. They're going to be a bit different, I feel, than very different to what we currently have, which is just simple, well, literally that that entire page actually in Pages in Google. So what Zia and I spoke about at the end of this week was that if we had the meeting details stored properly, i.e. not as just entire pages, so for the whole meeting details across the UK we've got like 6 different pages in Google. If we didn't do that, if we actually made them more granular so each meeting was unique as a unique entry, then we'd have the power to do searching, filtering, aggregation in different ways. One thing that Zia mentioned was search by postcode and it will show you your nearest meetings, that kind of thing. So I've been looking at, well, what would we do? How would we host and store this information of meetings? And what in reality we shouldn't do is have any duplicate information at all. And that's one of the aims of this as well, is that we can reuse these meeting details across the web, on our website, on the UK website, on the London website, on the Midlands website, on all websites. And it should actually include all the websites that are currently not managed by us, including Wales and Scotland and not Wales, so we do support that. Sorry, Scotland and Northern Ireland and Ireland and stuff. Because why have them separate? Why not have them all in one place? Is how I feel. So what I'd like to show you here is how I've broken down what the meetings are to avoid duplication. It may initially feel a little bit complicated, but it isn't, and I feel it's very much the right way to do it. It's definitely the way that database design is done to avoid data duplication. So basically I'm using a tool called Podio, and I'll add you all to this Sage Yoga Meetings team workspace, and you'll just get an invite and you'll be able to come straight in. And basically the way that Podio works is you can build different objects. So I've built custom objects called meetings, venues, towns, regions and contacts. And you can define them. So for the meetings one, for example, if I hit this little settings thing, you can see that I've given it a venue, which is a relationship to a venue, so when the meeting is going to occur, who are the contacts that run the meeting, the meetup.com link, URL link, any further details. The attendees, just ignore it, it's just there purely because the when needs it, so just ignore that. But so basically the point is that you create an object and you can add the fields you want, so it's way more advanced than having a spreadsheet or anything else. And it's also fantastic because it's like the stuff that I would normally have to do at the code level, we can all do in the browser by just dragging things into this object. So by the way, it calls them apps, so the save app, and the app will save thing down here is because Podio calls each of them an app when really it's just an object. So anyway, so how I've structured it is I've taken as an example the meetings in Wales, looked at what information exists, just as an example, and broken each of these meetings down into those objects. So for example, a meeting contains a link to a venue. It also contains when that meeting is and links to multiple contacts, which are over here. A venue includes a street, but it also includes a link to the town. And again, we've separated the town from the venue because you can have multiple venues in one town. And obviously we've separated the meetings from the venue because you can have multiple meetings at a single venue. So if you change a meeting, why change so let's say you add a second meeting to a venue, it'd be wrong to have to re-enter that venue information into the meeting. Instead, if I take you to a meeting, you should be able to, let's say hit add meeting, you should be able to hit the venue and it displays the available venues that it knows about, and you can just pick one. So again, if you add a meeting to a venue that already exists, just link it. If it doesn't exist, go and create it. If you're creating a venue, why should you have to type in the town information? You shouldn't need to. You should be able to click on it, and it displays the available towns the system knows about. So again, we're keeping the information separate, and we're not having duplicate information. Same is true with the towns. Obviously the town names and stuff, like for example Swansea and the valleys, well, let's deal with that later, but I just took the information as it was here. I've treated these as towns and these as regions, but we can look at the structure of it however we want to organise it. But again, if you want to create a new town, you just link it to an existing region. There are all the regions of our website, and obviously you can just create new regions as you see fit. And as I also mentioned, if you go to a meeting and you create a meeting, you've got this contacts, and again, on here you've got, so for example, you've got the Sardinia Wales here, you've got Sardinia Wales here, Sardinia Wales here, same number here and here and here. So what we're finding at the moment is if we need to change a contact, we have to change it in multiple places, which is somewhat simple actually in a Google page because it's just copy and paste on the page. But as soon as we start separating those meetings out into individual items in a spreadsheet, let's say, or whatever, it's going to become more of a headache. So especially in a database which isn't as simple as just copying and pasting in a spreadsheet. So again, what we've instead got is, let's move all the contacts over to a contact sheet. So you create those contacts as individual entities in the contacts list. So for example, again, the namings we need to look at because some don't have names and all the rest of it. Sardinia Wales. So instead of having it in 3 different places, you simply link to it here. Sardinia Wales. So if I put in a venue, that one there. Let's pick a random date and put in some. So this one is from 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. If you want to make it recurring, you hit recurring and say it's every week on a Tuesday, repeat. So the point I'm doing here is I'm quickly showing you how to create one, but you'll be able to do that yourself. Hit save. And then what you'll see, so you see this particular meeting is a particular venue, on a particular date, and it recurs. It's a repeating meeting. Particular contact. Let's go and change that contact for fun. Let's go and change the Sardinia Wales contact information. There we go. Put the word updated. Now this is not going to surprise anyone that when I change this, if I then go to the meetings tab, you're going to see all of them have inherited the updated contact information rather than us having to go and run through it manually. So I think that'll do for showing you around where I've got to. I'll add you all to it, you can have a look around. But basically, I feel this is where we should take this. I'm not saying this is definitely the platform, but I think Podio is a fantastic platform because you can create anything you want and you can link everything together. It's just extremely powerful. And on top of that, there's this, the reason why this works for us is, well, again, this is a hypothesis until I've actually finished building it. I've started to build an app, is that the Podio platform has an API. And actually the whole website is built on top of their own API. So everything you can do through this page, through the interface of Podio, we can do in our own websites. So what that basically means is we'll be able to build a mini web app that then can pull out the meeting information we want and display it as we want. So for example, it will be able to pull out all meetings in this Wales region, and then it will just say, right, put the title, put the time, put the street information, and basically print out all of this exactly as we see it on screen, but it will be pulling it from this information here. So the end result, and I think the first goal we're looking for is to recreate this stuff based on this platform, or this type of platform, which will make it so much simpler to maintain, and we will have built the technology to then be able to enable displaying of just the Cardiff one, or just this one, or whatever, and also put them on other websites so it's not limited to only our website. So that'll do. Have a think. I know, Zia, this is very different to a spreadsheet. the end result is basically the same. It's just that we separate the information out, so we don't have duplicate information, and we benefit from updating a piece of information in one place, automatically updates it in every other place that information is used. Have a think, have a look over this. I'll send you invites and we can chat.